The upward price pressure on silver is so dramatic that nobody needs to tell you that silver is broken out. There are people now who will argue that a breakout in the silver price above 31 or 32 to 35 is something special. Judging from past silver bull markets, that's a rounding error. I mean, truly a rounding error. So I'm not convinced that the silver bullion is in a breakout phase or that leadership in the precious metals bull markets is going to shift from gold to silver. The higher quality junior silver stocks, I think we're going to talk about a couple of them today, are uniformly up 200% this year without the silver price moving that much. They're up on what I would describe as a dead cat bounce. They're also up on results, which is very, very, very healthy.
Analysts at Citi now predict that silver could reach $40 per ounce by the end of the year, driven by supply deficits. Overall, the outlook for silver remains bullish, supported by both industrial demand and its role as a safe haven asset amidst global uncertainties. Among individual silver mining stocks, Endeavour Silver is up more than 6% to lead rally. The stock boasts a remarkable one-year return of 124%, significantly outperforming competitors like First Majestic and Pan American Silver. Renowned investor RickRule, president of Sprott US Holdings Inc, offers insights into the historical dynamics of silver and explores the performance of junior silver stocks. He emphasizes that gold typically leads precious metal bull markets, while investors often shift their focus to silver due to its volatility. Regarding recent price movements, Rick shows skepticism around $31 to $35 is insufficient to indicate a leadership shift from gold. The silver market may be getting a bit exhausted at this point, but it is obviously still very bullish, and any significant pullback should be considered a potential opportunity to get involved. That being said, the potential volatility means you should be cautious with your position size. Technically, Rick points out that as gold nears its real all-time highs, silver's nominal peak of $50 adjusts to around $80 when factoring in inflation. Reflecting on recent shifts, Rick likens the sentiment around junior silver stocks to a coiled spring, noting that disillusioned speculators from 2010 and 2011 developed a strong aversion to them. Despite this, many high-quality junior silver stocks have surged by about 200% this year, even as silver prices have remained relatively stable. Silver for December delivery peaked earlier at $35.07, the highest price for a most active contract since October 2012. Against this backdrop, silver-focused miners like First Majestic Silver, Pan American Silver, Fortuna Silver, and Hecla Mining are all up 3 to 4% at midday. Now we present the clips of RickRule's insights from his recent interview. Before we continue to discuss this, please subscribe to our channel and activate the bell icon for timely updates.
I'm not convinced that we're in a silver bullion breakout yet. I think silver is merely caught a bid. If you look at gold, gold is approaching its real as opposed to nominal all-time highs at $2,700. Silver's nominal high was $50, but the inflation-adjusted number is more like $80. So silver, I think, has a while to rip. In my own experience, as we talked about earlier, precious metals bull markets are inevitably led by gold because the first buyer is a fear buyer. When the precious metals narrative gets established by gold and the momentum comes into gold, the next step is the generalist investor coming down into the precious metals space. And the generalist investor, whose motivations are both fear and greed, tends to favor silver because of its volatility and perhaps because of its lower unit price over gold. And then leadership changes to silver. And in my experience, when that happens, you don't have to look for some subtle signs. The upward price pressure on silver is so dramatic that nobody needs to tell you that silver is broken out. There are people now who will argue that a breakout in the silver price above 31 or 32 to 35 is something special. Judging from past silver bull markets, that's a rounding error. I mean, truly a rounding error. So I'm not convinced that the silver bullion is in a breakout phase or that leadership in the precious metals bull markets is going to shift from gold to silver. I remember in our earlier interview describing the high-quality junior stocks as a coiled spring. That wasn't so much about the fact that I thought the silver price was going to break out. It was about the fact that the silver equities were hated. They were hated, I think, because a whole generation of speculators was spawned in 2010, 2011 with the Reddit silver squeeze. They had expected immediate gratification, and when they didn't get it, let's just say that there's no hate as sincere as the hate of a jilted lover. And the junior silver stocks probably ran into 150,000 jilted lovers. Really, truly profound hate. And it seemed to me at that point in time that with or without the silver moving, that there was nobody left to sell. Everybody who wanted to sell, November, December, January, had sold. And that turned out to be, miraculously, even in terms of timing, exactly right. The higher quality junior silver stocks, I think we're going to talk about a couple of them today, are uniformly up 200% this year without the silver price moving that much. They're up on what I would describe as a dead cat bounce. They're also up on results, which is very, very, very healthy. It is arguable that those stocks don't need to go up anymore at these silver prices. But if past is prologue, and we have a silver bull market coming up, which is to say that the primary metal itself does what it has done, I think people will be surprised at the performance, the ultimate performance of silver equities. Notice that I preceded all of that with the word if. Speculators are looking for certainty, which I think is too much to ask for in any speculative market. You assign probabilities to outcome and you risk those probabilities.
Revealing his significant investment in the company, RickRule conveys his strong support for Abra Silver, while praising CEO John Menottes for strategically raising capital during favorable conditions. This approach has contributed to a remarkable 250% increase in stock value. Previously underestimating the Abra project's exploration potential, Rule now acknowledges the team's strong grasp of the deposits. The company is rapidly advancing its 100% owned Diablilos silver-gold project in the Salta province of Argentina, which has an indicated resource base of over 140 million ounces on a silver-equivalent basis, and an initial open-pit PEA study completed in 2018. The Abra Silver project has the potential to positively impact silver prices by increasing overall supply and boosting investor confidence in silver equities. If successful, the project could attract more interest and investment in the silver market, contributing to upward price momentum. Unlike in the past, Rick mentions that improved infrastructure now allows for easier transportation, which significantly improves the project's viability. Let's get back to the interview.
I should precede this by saying I'm long Abra Silver. So people need to know when they hear my remarks that I'm long. I'm not merely up, I'm way up. Note, too, that I have known the geologist there, VP Exploration, for 30 years. He used to work for Ross Beatty. I have a high degree of confidence in him. And I like John Menottes. I like the fact that when I ask him to describe for me 3 things that can go wrong, he has 3 things that can go wrong right on the top of his head. He doesn't BS anybody, including himself. And that's important because if you have identified at least 3 risks and you have contingency plans in place to deal with the risks, then you're a good CEO. You're not a used car salesman. I also like the fact that he understands capital markets. A lot of CEOs with an exploration project like this would raise money when they needed it. They play just-in-time chicken with capital markets. Menottes raises the money when market conditions are good, as opposed to waiting until he needs the money. He has been criticized by some people for tapping equity markets too much. The fact that his stock is up 250% will tell you something about the fact that his strategic timing for raising capital, which allows them to run 8 or 10 rigs, is much more intelligent than this just-in-time BS that some people do to manipulate markets. So he's a high-quality guy. I also need to say, well, 2 things. The project Diablilos is one that I helped Silver Standard buy many years ago, and I'm embarrassed to say that the exploration potential was completely lost on us. So I'm delighted that this team has taken a project and has done it justice. What is important to me with Abra Silver right now is it would seem that they understand the nature of the deposit or deposits so well that drilling has become predictive. In other words, they say, this is what we think is happening. We're going to test this idea with 8 or 10 drill holes, and the 8 or 10 drill holes confirm the idea. In my experience, often but not always, when the deposits are well enough understood that the drilling becomes predictive, you're at sort of a fulcrum point. in terms of net present value additions. And I think we may be there with Abra. I think they understand the deposit. I think the nature of mineralization is profound. But importantly, it looks to me like the drilling is becoming predictive. When drilling becomes predictive, the amount of ounces that you add can, I'm not saying they will, but can go up dramatically. Note finally that the Abra deposit is in a fairly remote part of Salta province, so that the front-end capital costs are going to be pretty high, but they're coming down as a consequence of other precious metal developments, and particularly lithium developments on the Salta Plateau. So when you look at the fact that this is, by nature, vicuña pasture, high, dry, and remote, understand that there are other active mining operations within 40 kilometers, which is to say 25 miles of this deposit. Unlike when we had it in Silver Standard, and you had to get there by horseback or by helicopter, two unpleasant options. You can drive there now, which makes a big, big, big difference.
So the silver market remains bullish. Any pullbacks may present investment opportunities, though caution is advised due to volatility. Geopolitics, interest rates, and the US dollar influence the silver market, so you will have to keep an eye on multiple things around the world. What are your thoughts on the potential of silver and mining stocks in this evolving market? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. If you find this video informative, don't forget to support our channel and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos. See you in the next video.